Hello and welcome to this episode of BrewTube. Better than Fortnite deathmatch codes, 14 non-alcoholic beers and just one man. I'm going to go into one of the biggest comparisons of alcohol-free beers to date. As you might know or not, there's different ways of removing the alcohol from beer. Some brewers will use a special kind of yeast which will consume some of the sugars, carbonating the beer but not actually creating the alcohol. Some will use heat to boil it off, some will do it with pressure, some will do a freezing. As you can see, some big heavy hitters up against some unknowns. All of these beers are ones which I got from local supermarkets, didn't get stuff off the internet. I know there is other stuff out there, but this was just stuff that was available at my local supermarkets. Some were out of stock. I would have liked to have had a few more. I have done some separate videos about these as well. Do check those out. I'll put a link up there at the end of the video. I don't want you clicking away. This will just be a whistle-stop tour, what I think, what I like, what I don't like, maybe a bit more of a comparison at the end. With the Lunar New Year just around the corner, I thought what better glass to be using than the Hong Kong Brewing Co. I will be using the same glass for all of them, but I will be obviously rinsing it between the beers. First one up, chosen at random, Athletic Brewing's Upside Dawn. This is a golden ale and supposedly brewed with a proprietary method so that it makes it a non-alcoholic beer. 0.5%, and this one they reckon it won't be tasteless. Fruity and sweet, bit citrus, grapefruity. It's okay, but to be honest, it's a bit thin and watery. One that I've already tried, one I've already reviewed before, is the Aldi Pilsner. This is a 0% beer. No information on which brewing process was used to make this non-alcoholic. I've already reviewed this, it is a firm favourite. It's got a nice maltiness, bready, bread crust. Tiny bit of sweetness. Just delicious, crisp. There's a bit of fruity floralness there. There's a little bit of sweetness and a tiny bit of bitterness at the end. Just very nice beer. Next one up, Brewdog's Hazy Jane. I used Hazy Jane to check in the 100 beers on Untapped. I do like Hazy Jane as a beer. Will I like the ale? It's got some of the aroma, but on the thin side. Pineapple, definitely grapefruit. Bit sort of floral, but let's go in. Yeah, it is thin again. It's a bit watery. It does have that pineapple and grapefruit. It's quite strange, it has an almost umami flavour as well. Next up, the Acai, super dry. This is a 0%. Nice fruity floral nose. It's almost quite effervescent smelling, it smells slightly sherbety. Yeah, this one's very nice as well. It has got that sort of malty bread crustiness and it's got those fruity floral sort of flavours as well. Yeah, delicious. Bready, fruity, floral, very nice beer. I do hope you're enjoying this video, and if you are, please hit the like button. As the Brewdog website does actually mention, being non-alcoholic beers, you can drink as much as you like, drive, operate heavy machinery, you should be okay. course, some of these are 0.5%. Someone must have done a study somehow and somewhere to know how many of these beers you'd actually need to drink to eventually become impaired. Another Brewdog, and this time Nanny State. This again, 0.5% ABV. This style is a hoppy ale. Definitely darker in colour than the other ones. More of a honeyish-ness to it. Does have a bit of grapefruit. Maybe a spicy woodiness, grassiness. It is better than the Hazy Jane, just to be comparing the Brewdogs all together. It's got more body to it. Those flavours are there. It's still on the watery side, it's still on the thin side. This is always going to be a drawback to the non-alcohol beers. The well-known big hitter, Lucky Saint Blue Can, the unfiltered lager. This is 0.5% ABV. Does have great carbonation, as you can see. It actually is slightly cloudy. Not a great deal on the nose. Wouldn't say there's much of an aroma at all. But it's delicious. Delicious flavour. Not as big a malty flavour as the Aldi Pilsner or the Asahi Super Dry, but still a very, very nice beer. I only bought one box of the orange, the hazy IPA that they do. I wasn't a massive fan of that. I found it a bit soapy and a bit sort of weak and thin and watery, really. But you know, I'm sure that some of you out there like it. Another beer which I found in Aldi is the Saint Etienne. It's a premium lager. And it's interesting, it actually almost smells slightly skunked. Skunked or light struck. This is particularly bad with the beer in green bottles or clear bottles, and it's the effect that light can have on these beers. There's a slightly sulphurous aroma which will actually then just dissipate. It smells slightly rubbery, but there is some maltiness, bitterness, slightly sweet, and there's a bit of hoppiness, maybe sort of floral, kind of floralness to it. And the flavour is really good. It's slightly on the sweeter side. It's a bit thin on the body, but the actual flavour is still really good. It hasn't got the thin wateriness to it. It actually does have some flavour and more on the flour maltiness, uncooked dough. But yeah, very nice beer again. Another Brewdog beer, another well-known one, Elvis Juice. I think the real version is about 6.5. It's quite a heavy beer, but it's usually quite a good favourite with people. Pouring darker again, similar to the Nanny State. Massive grapefruit. Massive, yeah, the grapefruit juice. It doesn't smell bitter, it doesn't smell pithy. It's this smells absolutely amazing. Don't get me wrong, it is a nice beer. It's got the grapefruity flavours. The aroma is very impressive. The flavour is a little bit weaker and the body is very thin and watery. As you take a big whiff in and you've got the aroma of that grapefruit in your nose, when you then take a sip, it comes across as being very thin and much more disappointing. But you do still have those flavours there. And I would say the flavour is slightly more of that pithy grapefruitiness rather than the grapefruit juice. Second from Athletic Brewing, This one is Run Wild. Style is just down as being an IPA. Quite a nice colour. Pours slightly lighter than the Elvis Juice and the Nanny States, but darker than the Pilsners. And it's got some fruity aromas, a bit honeyish, maybe a bit of sort of stone fruit. Not getting much in the way of malt, but what you do get, big fruity flavours, nice bit of bitterness on the end as well. It's not overly sweet, it's fairly well balanced. I would say that maybe the bitterness is coming through slightly sort of harsher now, but it's nothing really particularly shocking. Yet again, very nice beer. Back onto a bottled beer, we've got the San Miguel. This is a 0%. I'm sure you're all familiar with their lager. Sweet, malty. It's like, as I love to say, it's like the malty. I wouldn't say that it was bready. It's definitely that sort of barley. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what sort of sweet bun this might be, like Chelsea bun, I don't know. Something like that, but it smells amazing. It's got this honeyish-ness. There's that barley malt coming through. Slightly sort of floral. Oh yeah, this one definitely hits the spot. Yeah, it's got it all. On the sweeter side, it's got that honeyish-ness. The malt's slightly more subdued. Not really any bitterness to speak of afterwards, but a very, very nice, delicious and refreshing beer. Last of the Brewdog, obviously the epitome of all their beers, the Punk IPA. Yet again, 0.5%. There is some of that Punk IPA aroma in this beer. But there's something, maybe it's a little plasticky. This one's not great. Obviously, beers can't be a carbon copy of what they should be, but just without the alcohol. They may have to modify processes or ingredients. Incredibly thin, incredibly watery. Not very much on the maltiness, and there's a kind of unusual grapefruitiness to it. It's actually quite cardboardy. I think I'm still getting plastic as the aroma, but cardboard on the flavour. Beer Moretti, penultimate of the bottles. Very good, lively, active carbonation. Obviously, clear lager. I'm sure you're familiar with this beer as well. Not much coming through. There's a very mild, sweet, malt style aroma. Yeah, though not much on the aroma, but a nice, subdued, bready maltiness, some floral hop notes. It's actually very, very nice. So although the aroma, in actual fact, gives nothing at all, it doesn't actually mean then that the flavour won't be nice. That's a very nice beer. Almost finishes slightly sort of, it's wrong to say sort of spicy or pepperiness, because it's not one of these big, bold, overpowering flavours, but there's a little bit something there. It might be a sort of crispness, but it definitely sort of lingers on your tongue. But yeah, very good, very nice beer. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please hit the subscribe button. One that did catch my eye was this one, the Brooklyn Brewery Hoppy Lager. It's either going to be very, very good, or I believe ultimately just disappointing. As long as it's not thin, as long as it's not artificial, we could be onto a winner here. So this one's a 0.4% ABV. Now it does pour quite dark for a lager. Definitely got some honey there, but I am worried because the fruitiness is it's a subdued sort of orange peel. I think sort of candied orange peel type flavour. But not at all on the flavour. This one is brilliant. If you can find the Brooklyn Brewing Hoppy Lager in your local stores, I would definitely recommend you try this one out. This one's delicious. It probably is actually a slightly sort of candied orange peel flavour to it. There's a bit of breadiness, toastiness to it. It's wrong to say caramel, but there's also a floralness to it. Very, very nice. Really, really nice beer. I would not guess if somebody put that in front of me that it was a non-alcoholic beer. It's 0.4% ABV, but they do advertise these as being non-alcoholic. Okay, they don't. It's low alcohol. It's low alcohol written on the bottle, but this is delicious. I would not have guessed this was of such a low ABV. Very, very nice, not watery, it's got body, good carbonation, flavours are delicious. Very, very, very nice. So, having said that I've been choosing all these beers at random, the one beer that I have saved until last is the Guinness Zero. I thought it was best to obviously end in a dark beer. I've already reviewed this one as well, and it is a good beer. The can has the widget, so it is a nitro stout. Going for the bigger Hong Kong Beer Co glass. Do a full pour, because it's always satisfying. Excuse the terrible pour. I'm sure a lot of people will be disgusted with this, but it is still very satisfying to just see all that nitrogen coming out of solution. The beer obviously settles much quicker than it would as a draft pint. And it's there. You've got the coffee, you've got a bit of chocolate, that slight sort of burnt coffee aroma. And it's true to form, exactly the same flavours. You've got the burnt coffee, possibly the slight chocolatey after flavour. It does finish bitter, slightly sweeter, and I'd say there's some fruitiness in there. I did a longer review just on this, and I did find that it was almost like a red fruit kind of flavour, but delicious beer. I don't think that there are any readily available non-alcoholic stouts, and this is a fantastic option. Thank you for sticking with me until the end. 14 beers, quite a roller coaster. Definitely the Brooklyn Brewing Hoppy Lager. That was amazing, absolutely fantastic. The Guinness Zero, amazing and absolutely fantastic. Two very, very good beers. The Athletic Brewing Run Wild, delicious beer as well. And going right down through the range, obviously, the Aldi Pilsner, the Saint Etienne from Aldi as well. 2 budget options, delicious beers. I don't think any of the bottled beers were a disappointment. I would probably say the Athletic Brewing Golden Ale, the Brewdog Hazy Jane as well, not my favourite. And if anything, I would probably say that the Brewdogs were disappointing as well. The Elvis Juice had amazingly good, strong grapefruitiness on the aroma, but the flavours and the body, a little bit disappointing. But there you have it. Do not lose faith, do not lose hope. If you don't want to be drinking alcohol, there's a lot of options out there. You can be drinking beers, not getting drunk, not getting up to anything crazy, but you can still enjoy good flavours and good beers. I hope you watched my Dear Dryery saga. That was my journey through dry January. Quite a roller coaster. Didn't realise quite what the dependence that I had. With the Lunar New Year, finally, well done Nick. Last of the punk, nope. Penultimate of the, penultimate, Jesus Christ. That's your lot for today. I do hope you come back and watch our other videos. See you again here soon.